everyone. I'm so excited about this one. Actually, I'm really, really excited. I'm actually jumping on my seat and you can't tell, or maybe you can tell. But I've been planning this, we've been planning this, Jamila and I have been planning this conversation for a couple of months now, or a month at least. But I've been thinking about this for a long time, ever since Jamila started commenting on my channel. And it's been 2 years that she's just told me 2 years. I mean, it feels like it's flew by. But it's been 2 years since she's been on my channel. And a lot of times I would hear from her because she's an INTJ and she's dating an INFJ. And she would just put all these really brilliant, right on point comments on my videos. And I was just like, oh my God, who's this person who knows INFJs better than we do ourselves? Of course, I would read her comments with like just eagerness and just delight. But then I'll think to myself, I should really bring her on the channel and just like pick her brain a little bit, so that people who want to date INFJs obviously will get a lot of benefit out of this. But also people who are INFJs, like, oh, this is how people view us. I think that's really fascinating. So Jamila, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you're busy. You're a psychologist. You are a mother, and you have so many other things you're doing. So thank you for coming on this channel.
You are very welcome. You are very welcome. I'm excited. I'm so excited to talk to you directly. Like I said, yeah, I think we've known each other for 2 years. Yeah.
Yes. We've known each other. We have e-meeted, but yes. We haven't actually ever. I mean, you've seen my face, as I said, but I've never seen your face, and it's so nice to finally see your face in this manner, even though it's virtually, but it still feels really good. So as I was saying to it's like I just think it's so admirable that you are, you just really are trying to figure your INFJ boo out. You're just like, I know he's complicated. I'm not going to run away from it. I'm going to go deep into it. I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to put it out for the world to know, so that other people can get benefit from it too. So I'd love to know, how did this start? What was it? How did you meet him? How did you know, et cetera, et cetera?
So as far as INFJ Boo goes, I met him on a Facebook site. It's really funny. It's on a group that's specifically for Black introverts over 35. It's very specific. So that's where we met. But as far as me really diving in, it was from a previous interaction with another INFJ male that I thoroughly messed it up. I was totally door slammed. I earned it though.
Oh, no.
I earned it because that's when I started watching your videos just to try to understand, this guy's kind of weird. I'm not getting it. But even as I was watching your videos, I wasn't really applying it. Like I still had my own expectations, my own hopes, my own way of doing things. Totally door slammed me. Like I said, I earned it. So coming out of that situation and really feeling like, wow, I really need to pay attention. And I do a lot of self-awareness work, and I look at what were my insecurities, what were my expectations. And so really when I joined that Black introvert group, it was just me trying to kind of rediscover how to talk to people without expectations. That was the whole reason why I joined the group. And then there's this guy, and it was really, he and I were both heavy posters. So we were always posting these long paragraphs and answers. Even though there were a ton of people on the group, he and I seemed to always be answering the same questions, following the same prompts, things like that. And that's how we kind of saw each other. But, like I said, I'm really trying to just interact with people. He's just there. It's okay. I want to say it was a few weeks of just constant interaction. I mean, we're interacting with everyone, but just kind of a lot of similarities between the two of us, that I know he saw me, because he would talk to me within the context of the feed.
Yes.
But never in the private messages, right?
Yes.
So I was like, I'm going to take a chance and private message him, right?
Awesome. I love it.
And I was just like, hey, just want to let you know, I think you're really insightful. I think you're really funny. That's all I said, with no expectations. And he messaged me back, and we just started having this really great conversation. And I think a lot of people say that about you guys. It starts off as this really great conversation for a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, and then you just disappear. Like
yes. It's so embarrassing.
I'm thinking, what did I say something that, because I would still see him. I think that was the thing. It'd be one thing if we were totally offline and, okay, we're offline, we're just not on at the same time. But I would see him posting on the group. And so in the private message, I'd be like, hey, and whatever. And he would never respond to me privately, but I'd still see him post. Like, what does that mean?
Confusing, yeah.
It's very confusing because on our side of the planet, us non-INFJs,
yes,
that sends a signal of you're not interested. That's what we get. Now, of course, later I've learned that he was just posting. I mean, he wasn't thinking anything of it, and that's the hilarity that I've had to learn. He thinks he's just existing. He's just he's just in his head. I didn't feel like talking, so I'm not going to talk. Like, no explanation. So I want to say, and then he comes back like a day later, 2 days later, and starts a conversation as if we didn't just have this 2-day gap of no response. And so I'm confused because, again, in non-INFJ world, I'm like, are you playing with me? Are you ghosting me? Are you breadcrumbing me? Like, what are you doing? What is this back and forth? And we went through this a few times. And finally, I got really frustrated, and I really tried to think things through before I say anything and just come up with any reason for why this is happening, but I couldn't come up with one. And so finally I said, what are you doing? I said, what is this? You when you talk to me, you act like you like me, you're flirty, you're cute, you're all these things, and then you disappear. What are you doing? Do you like me? Look, if you don't even have to interact with me, you don't have to. Like, I'm not your girlfriend. We haven't made any promises. You don't even have to talk to me. Pick a side.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
And the thing is, he's like, what did I do? He's like, what did I do? And he's like, I feel like I'm on the chopping block. And so I'm confused because in order to be on a chopping block, that means we were building something, and I didn't know we were building anything because I'm still.
Oh my God! It sounds like it's comedy from the outside, but it's not.
It is total confusion because, I mean, I'm looking at it. Obviously, I'm looking at it from a non-INFJ perspective. I'm looking at it from a cultural perspective as well. We're two Black people, and this is not how Black people interact. You know, when you ignore someone or you kind of bounce back and forth, that sends a very negative vibe. You know, that says, oh, you're playing around, or you're entertaining a bunch of women, or you're, you know, so it does not send a positive vibe at all. So if you're talking to me and then a couple of days go by, you're not talking to me, then you come back to me, it looks like, oh, okay, so this person didn't work out. You're coming back to someone who did respond to you. So yeah.
That is interesting. I didn't think about it in a cultural perspective. That's brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, that has been, I think, another layer of difficulty with our interactions because he has certain expectations of me of things that he thinks I'm going to do, and then I don't do those things. You know, sometimes with, you know, Black men and women, we clash, you know, or we get upset with each other. And so I'm not a yeller. I'm one who talks. I'm one who likes to reason things out. If you give me a reason, I accept it, which is not necessarily a trait of every Black woman. And so he's shocked, like, really? You believe me? Like, the first time we don't have to argue? We don't have to? Like, no, why? Why would we argue? So I think I'm just as weird to him as he is to me.
Right. That's brilliant. I love that.
I'm thinking, so after that chopping block comment, I was thinking the first thought that immediately came to mind was, okay, wow, he is really sensitive to rejection or the perception of rejection. And so I said, okay, so any frustrations I have in the future, I really want to think them through before I drop them in his lap. You know, because I really want to make sure. I said, no, I'm not rejecting you. I really just want to understand what you're doing. Just tell me what you're doing. And so he said, well, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like talking, sometimes I don't. He's like, I'm 1,000% introverted. That's how he describes himself. I'm 1,000% introverted. So I said, oh, okay. So sometimes you feel like talking, sometimes you don't. He said, yeah. I said, okay. He said, really? So,
You're just throwing him off his game. He has no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, and I know to him, I sound so talkative. And really it's because of my profession. I have to keep people engaged, and I have to, so I have to kind of step out of my shell a lot. And after 17 years, I look really extroverted when I'm really not. I'm really not. So I just like, okay.
Right.
But I will tell you honestly, even though I had that explanation, those dropouts were still very, very jarring. It's because I think it's because I just can't see them coming. I don't know when they're going to happen. Like there's no rhyme or reason. And I think that's where a non-INFJ would get really, really frustrated, because like if there was a death in the family, okay, you're going to stop talking for a while. If you had a major work project, okay, you're going to stop talking for a while. But it looks like you guys stopped talking because it's Wednesday. I mean, it's 2:00. It's 2:03. I'm going to stop talking. I am done for the day. Like there's no warning. There's no conclusion. There's no heads up.
Yes.
It's just very jarring, and I never catch it. It's taken me, like we've known each other now for about 15 months, and I want to say it's taken me 12 of those months to catch on, because I'll text, not get a response. Then I'll text again, and it'll be maybe a day or two of me texting with no response before I say, oh, he's in a cave somewhere. He's just in his head somewhere. So it takes me a minute to catch on.
Yes.
But after a few rounds of that, I was like, have you ever heard of Myers-Briggs? Because I had exhausted every other possibility in my mind of why he was acting like this. I'm like, he reminds me very much of the other guy.
Yeah.
So I said, now the other guy, he knew he was an INFJ. So at least I had that at the introduction. But Boo, he knows nothing. So I said, hey, can you take this really quick test? I'm gonna send you the link. Takes like 15 minutes. He's like, okay, sure. And in my head, I'm like, if it comes back INFJ, oh my gosh. And he's like, I don't know. It says I'm INFJ. I'm like,
oh God. You're like, damn it.
So I'm gonna spend the rest of my life doing this. Okay.
You seem to be like a magnet for male INFJs, which are apparently more rare than female INFJs.
They are rare. Well, the first one was a coworker, and the only reason why he stood out to me was because literally when we're in meetings, I worked at a psychiatric hospital. So when we're in meetings, there are, 20 different personalities in the room. So I can read every personality except for this one random, it was like a void. And I'm like, wait a minute, who's that guy?
Yes, yeah.
So I had regular interactions with him in a workspace, so at least I had some advantage of being able to look at him to see nonverbal cues, verbal cues. You know, I had something, but with Boo, it's all computer, because we met a month and a half before the pandemic.
Yes, I remember you telling me that. Oh my God.
So we haven't even had a chance to sit down face to face. I mean, wow. So I'm learning through text, or I'm learning through phone calls. The first phone call was as awkward as, well, I'm sure you, yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm sure you understand. But yeah, so when he came back with INFJ, I'm like, okay. Because at this point, I had been watching your videos for at least a year at that point. Oh, wow. And I'm like, okay, now I really get to put this into practice. Now I really get to try to understand what I didn't understand with the last guy. Mm-hmm. Boom, let me tell you. This is not easy. This is not, because in the non-INFJ world, there are so many dating rules, so many interaction rules, that it's just natural. Like it's not even written down rules. It's just, that has been life experience for so many, so many boyfriends, so many girlfriends, so many, dates and whatnot. You get used to things going a certain way, and then you meet this strangeness and you're like, this doesn't fit any of my experiences. I cannot pull from any of my previous experiences to apply to this one, because if I do, then I'm going to draw the wrong conclusion. So like I said, when he was dropping in and out of conversations, previous experience says he's messing with you, he's playing with you, he's not serious. Yes. And of course, if I'd stuck with that, that would have totally been the wrong conclusion. He really liked me. As a matter of fact, the way that I figured it out, because I thought he was so strange, at one point, even though I was trying to get it, I was like, I can't get it. These dropouts are too much. But the thing is, he's so great when he's here. Yeah. And I like him, and I don't like the fact that I like him because he's getting on my nerves.
Oh no.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Now, I had been on like this extended vacation. I had left my job at the hospital and was transitioning into doing more testing and more evaluations. But there was like this big month. I took like a month off of work, which was when I was on this site. So as I was getting ready to start my new job, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna feed him this little excuse and he's just gonna go away. I'm gonna let him go away, because I can't get it. We're on this group. There's other introverts, there's other women, there are other people that are interacting with him. At least on the front page, I didn't know if he was talking to anyone in the private messages. Right. I'm like, he doesn't need me, So I fed him this crazy BS excuse that I'm sure he knew was total BS. I was like, you know what? My job is getting ready to start. I'm really not going to have time for, this group. It's been fun, but I got to acclimate to my new job. I don't, but, I mean, my job is testing. What's to acclimate to? You show up, I test you. So, so I'm like, it's going to take me like a week to get myself together. So I'm just going to log off the group. I'm just going to disappear, because he and I were not Facebook friends. So we weren't Facebook friends at that point. I see. Okay. So I was like, nice talking to you. And hey, I'm sure there are so many other women out there for you.
You're like, good luck with that.
Good luck. Yeah, because honestly, in the midst of all of our interacting on the group, people had put us together. Oh. So like people, whenever they would post something about him, they would tag me and it's like, come get your friend, come do. I'm like, he's not mine. I don't know what to do with him.
Oh my God.
So I'm like, you know what? Maybe because I kind of befriended a lot of the ladies on the group, and I was like, well, maybe they're not interacting with you out of respect for me or whatever, but we're not together, and I don't want to, stop you from. So I'm just gonna go.
Oh.
And I left. I logged off the group. I started my job. I went on with life.
Yeah.
A week later, because remember I said it'd be a week, right?
Yes.
A week later, I get a private message from our dear friend, Mr. Boo. And I'm like, hello? Because Facebook Messenger is still open. When you've started a conversation with someone, it's still open unless you block them. So I never blocked them. So he's like, hi, how's it going?
What's going on here?
What? What are you doing? And he said, well, you said you needed a week to kind of like get yourself together. So I pulled back for a week, and now
I'm back.
like, that was not the best. He's like, I'm back. And I'm like, you weren't supposed to. You were supposed to go away. And he was so excited. He's like, hey, and he's being cute and flirty. And I'm like, what? Yes. Okay, I got to keep him. Okay. All right, I'll keep him. Okay.
He's
now my responsibility.
Yeah.
He's my responsibility now. Now I really have to sort this out. He's not going away, because now I really don't have an excuse. And I'm like, well, how are things going on in the group? Like, aren't you meeting other people? He said, oh, I haven't posted since you left. What? Are you stalking me? I was thoroughly confused. I did not think that he liked me. I did not think that he really, thought a lot about me, or yes, we had these conversations, but he was so hit and miss and left and right. I didn't think that he was really getting anything out of interacting with me. And plus, he got a lot of attention in the group, there's a lot of flirtatious people in the group. And so he would get a lot of attention there. I was also getting a lot of attention, but I was blocking a lot of it. I was like, hell, I don't want to talk to you. But so I'm thinking, we're not developing anything.
Yes.
Who knew?
Oh, that's what you thought.
That's what I thought. Until he comes back a week later and says, surprise. So from there, like I said, we never talked about what it meant to be INFJ. Like I didn't know how to have that conversation with him, or because he didn't appear to really care. But I can't. But you can't tell by text and computer. You don't know what people care or don't care about.
Yeah.
So, but what could I say about it? I was still figuring it out myself. There was, so I never said anything else about it. But of course, I continue to watch your videos and continue to really just kind of observe what I could observe of his behavior and kind of the way he did things, and just try to figure it out from there. But like I said, I spent a lot of time. So it's still, I'm still like, okay. Now, like the thing that keeps everything balanced, and I think this is great for any non-INFJ, is goodness, have a life, like have other things to do. Because if I had to focus on him trying to figure it out, I would go crazy, because he doesn't answer enough of my questions as it is. Like I'm pure information. Give me information. I want to know everything. He'll give me like a drip here, and then 3 weeks later I'll get another drip over here, and then there's a puzzle piece way over there, and it's so slow. It is so slow. oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it is so
Okay.
slow. And I'm like, you know, I'm kind of glad we met this way through the
Mm.
computer, because I think if
Mhm.
we had met in real life, I wouldn't have been able to stand still long enough.
Right.
I wouldn't have, because I get information from people, like people, I'm a
Yeah.
confessional. People just come and they just feed me information. And of course, as
Yeah.
a therapist, people are giving me information. So I'm not used to this
Slow drip.
oh drip that drives you crazy, this water
It's like
torture.
Chinese water torture. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh shit.
And I still have to get used to that everything comes in these teeny tiny paper thin layers.
Yeah.
Because when he does open up, there are some pretty deep things there that information that he trusts me with. So I appreciate that. I have a lot of gratitude for it. And again, just like his silences, they come out of left field. So I'm like, I just have to stay on alert. I'm just going to spend the rest of my life just ready. For what? I don't know.
Oh my god. Oh my god. But I do
So
appreciate your patience in this, because obviously, like, not only are you spending a lot of time watching my videos, but you're obviously reading up on it online. You're like, you know, you're kind of watching him. You're kind of taking notes in the background. Like, you're extremely patient. I can see.
yes, yeah, that is the biggest thing. Like, I already have a measure of patience with people because, you
Mm-hmm.
know, like I said, working in a psychiatric hospital, you're getting people at all different stages of mental health. So
Yeah.
you have to be patient, obviously.
Right.
But I realized that I was not a patient person compared to this entity that I am now dealing with. That I had more patience to grow, apparently. So the biggest thing I had to learn was not to react immediately. Because I have a friend that I talk to about him very often, and the running joke between us is that he makes me angry like every 48 to 72 hours. That is the cycle of frustration.
Oh
And
my
but
god.
I don't tell him any of it. I think out of all the times that I have been frustrated with him, there's only been one time that I actually went to him and said, "Hey, can you not do this? I know
Right.
that you don't know, but it's kind of an anxiety trigger for me, but I know you didn't know that, you know."
Yeah.
And of course, immediately he just stopped that.
Yeah.
But as far as anything else, all of my frustration really comes from he's not acting right. He's not
Right.
he's not acting like I expect him to act because of my previous experience.
Yes.
So every time I hit that wall, I have to unlearn something. And unlearning is so hard. It's like you know, for me, whether it's as an INTJ, as a Gemini, as a whatever, you know, I'm always looking at patterns. Like, I figure out
Yes.
the pattern. I get all the information, I figure out the pattern. So you're telling me that now that I'm dealing with this guy, I have to throw away all of my dating data and
Ah.
start with a new file called INFJ.
Oh, that's
build
funny.
build this file purely based on whatever hit and miss information I can figure out with just this guy. Because if I were to leave him alone and go back and date anybody else, I could do everything the old way.
Yeah.
But with him, it's like, okay, so what do I do? So I spend a lot of time just, all I can do is keep it to myself and just really think about it and ponder and just, okay, all right, what's going on? You know, like, I have to
Yeah.
ask myself a series of questions of, okay, why did he say that? Okay, he said this because he probably doesn't know what he said. That's really that's really the answer. He's so dorky. That's really the answer.
Oh, that's so cute.
If he says something that I find frustrating, the things that I find frustrating is when he cuts off information. That's really, for me, that's my biggest frustration, is that he's talking and I'm like, ooh, what about this? Or he's answering my questions. I'm like, yay, he's answering. And then he just
suddenly goes away or stops talking.
And he stops talking. Yeah, the big thing is to stop talking, to stop texting. And I'm like, great.
Oh,
and you know, I have no idea how long I have to wait until he's kind of open enough to answer my random questions. Well, okay, I know I'm not tricking him, but I do ask him these random off the wall questions and say, hey, what would you do? I mean, like, when I mean completely off the wall questions, just to kind of get a sense of where he is, which I've got maybe 0.5% understanding.
Oh, good.
I'm working with very little data, so I'm having to be very, very patient. Like I said, I cannot apply anything that I've learned in the past. I'm trying to, like, obviously nonverbal cueing is the hardest because I can't see him, you know. So for the phone conversations that we have, which really don't happen often, most of our conversations are through text. So I have to really kind of listen for tone or inflection or you know, to see kind of where his head is. A lot of times, you know, it's the theme of whatever he's talking about is whether or not he's going through a guilt cycle or whether he's going through an anxiety cycle or where, you know, so I spend a lot of time listening, and I even explained to him, I'm listening because I don't know what to say. So all I can do is listen, and I already knew I can't give him any advice. He knows everything. But I think he just appreciates me listening, which is really all he needs, is just to be able to get it out, you know. So yeah.
I do wonder though, like, I mean, from listening to it, it sounds a little bit of a stressful relationship for you. Is that the case? Like,
not anymore. It was at the beginning. It was stressful. And like I said, that's where having other things to do helps. So all of my energy is not on him, you know, because like I work, obviously I'm someone's mom. So I get those phone calls. Hey, mom, can I have money? Okay. You know, I study Christianity. I mean, I was raised in the church, but really just understanding the spirituality. I do audios for Insight Timer. I have a course on Insight Timer. Like, I do a lot of different things so that I'm not 100% trying to figure him out all the time. You know, so and of course, if I'm really, really frustrated, I go to my friend and I'm like, translate, what does this mean? and she'll just give me some random theory, something to chew on, anything. If I cannot figure it out, she's like, well, it's probably this or it's probably this. And I'm just like, thanks, just give me a perspective to mull over because I've run out.
Well, that's really great. I love that you have that friend to actually be like, all right, like, just help me out here. I do want to ask, like, I mean, of course, do you think it's worth it? Like, I think INFJ Boo to you is worth this effort.
Yes, because I noticed that he tries, to the best of his, he tries to line up with me. I think I posted that finally after 14 months, he did a video chat with me. That was, look, let me tell you, at the beginning, he said, I'm telling you right now, I am never gonna do a video phone call. He's like, that's for those extroverted people. They're crazy. I'm never gonna do it. And so I never asked him. Anything that he tells me that he's not comfortable doing, I never ask him about. So I never said another word about it. And next thing I know, like, literally, he's like, hey, I'm in a Facebook chat room. I'm like, okay. I'm like, isn't that video? And he's like, yeah. Do you want to join? I'm like, okay. Exactly. So when I saw him, my first statement to him was, "Yay, you're not a catfish," because I'd never seen his face. I don't know who I'm talking
You never
to.
seen photos?
Well, yes, I'd seen photos. Of course, his photos have
but
been.
yeah, you were never sure that it was actually him. Yeah.
I'm like, but yeah, they could be, a consistent, like, it could be his best friend. They could be, because I used to watch the Catfish show. So I'm like, it could be anybody. So when I saw him, I'm like, okay, great. You are the guy in the photos. So
wow.
Hi,
Amazing.
how's it going? So I know, so for him, I know that was a big leap. I know that was a big leap for him. And I told him that I was really, happy and grateful that he was willing to do that. And we've had several, but like, we haven't had any lately, but that's okay. Like whatever he's able to do is fine. He also recently, he crossed the border and got an iPhone. I was shocked. I have an iPhone. And so I'm like, I thought you were Galaxy Note for life. I mean.
Oh my God.
Never. So I think okay, so where's his head right now? I think he's thinking about the possibility of maybe doing FaceTime. I'll probably find out in another 6 months. So.
Oh my God, you're so good.
I have accepted the fact that this is just gonna be slow. It's okay. And I think like also, where we are in life, because we're both in our late 40s and we've had time to develop careers and interests and passions that it's really okay. I think if we were a lot younger, if we were in our 20s or 30s, there's no way this would work, because I'm like, forget you, so.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I think it's, a bit more, because we're both a bit more settled, it's later in life. We both have, adult children. I mean, so I think
and
our
also,
just perspectives.
I think like you said, or I said earlier as well, like I think at that point, INFJs are a little bit more mature, because in their 20s, in our 20s, we're still trying to figure ourselves out. We're like, I don't know who I am. In our 30s, we're like, I think I know a little bit of who I am. And our 40s, finally, we're like, oh, I think I know who I am now, finally. Or like, it keeps on going, but like, it gets better and better.
Yeah.
One of the things I do love whenever you comment on the channel is that you really, you take that step back and you're like, all right, let me see. He did this, and I wonder why he did that. And let me kind of like analyze it. I'm going to go watch a video about it. I'm going to do this and that. I'm going to create like a whole notebook list for me on why he does the things he does.
Yeah.
So have there been ever any moments where you're like, actually, I thought that this is what it meant, but it wasn't that? Like, have you ever been like surprised by him?
Yes, I will say at least 60% of the time. It doesn't. There was actually recently, like I want to say about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we went an entire week without talking. Like I would text, no response back. He wasn't online either. He wasn't anywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Because I'm thinking, this is a major cave moment. What happened? Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I'm not going to bother him. I'm going to wait. He's going to come back. I'm not worried. Just what is going, a whole week? Like we've never gone a whole week. Right. So when he finally came back, I'm like, are you okay? How are things going? He's like, yeah, my phone died. My phone broke, which is why he got the iPhone, because the phone froze up. It wouldn't let him have outgoing calls. It lost its sound, like everything. And I'm like, dude. Oh my God. He legitimately had no way to get up with me, because we're in different states and he legitimately had no way to say anything to me. Wow. I was like, I'm thinking you're going through the crisis of a lifetime. Oh my God. And your phone's dead. Okay.
Oh my God. But oh wow, you must have been like, yikes. Oh, that's
Yeah. I'm
terrible.
glad I didn't say anything out loud.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
I've
Because
learned to
it's
not.
it's
Yeah.
very easy, right? Like you could have been like, you could have literally been like, okay, this is you. You know, you could have kind of given them a tirade of like, oh, so you don't message me anymore. It's been a week, and you know, you could have really just like railed into him if you wanted to, but you kept cool.
Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, at this point, 15 months in, I've learned that there's nothing personal about when he goes away. He doesn't go away because he's angry. He doesn't with me. He
Yeah.
doesn't go away out of disrespect.
Right.
It's just literally he's just in his head, or it's just a lot going on that day, or he might have expended his energy because like right now he's around a lot of family. So he might have expended a lot of his energy, having to do this for mom and this for auntie, and I got to go over here. And then by the end of his day, he just really, literally has nothing left.
Yes. Yep.
So I've learned that it never really has anything to do with me, because I know that there have been times when he would just text me just to say hi. It's the end of the day. He's like, hi, I'm really sleepy.
Oh, that's sweet. That's so cute.
Go to bed. But it's just like, just kind of that acknowledgement of, I haven't forgot you're still here. So that's what I'm saying. He tries to, line up and offer some kind of, not just completely go away and be in his head, but just like, yeah, I'm still here. I know you're here, So yeah, so I don't have any reason to get upset with him at this point, because I know it's not personal. It did take me a while to kind of get to that point, but yeah, it's not personal.
I really like how you say that it's not personal, because I really wish that I could just kind of imprint it on every non-INFJ who's trying to be an INFJ. Because I literally, when people message me and say, my INFJ, she's doing this or he's doing that, I'm like, they're just dealing with their own stuff. They're just literally in their own world, dealing with their own stuff. They don't think about anyone else when they're in that mode. That's just the way it is. Unfortunately, we just have a very limited bandwidth. And we're like, like the old Wi-Fi, or like the old modem, the dial-up thing. We just have a very little bandwidth. We can't do it all. We're not a fiber optic Wi-Fi connection. We just can't do it all. And so like the fact that, and you realize this as well, the fact that he's actually keeping you in your life, talking to you as he does, even intermittently, and letting you know that, I'm here and I like you and keep on talking to me. Like, it's a huge sign that he likes you. And just to kind of keep on focusing on that rather than all of the madness, which is very easy to focus on.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we're up to like sending little gifts to each other. So we do that. And he it is, like I said, these are the dorkiest gifts. These are very functional gifts. I will say that we're both very functional people. I think that's the other thing. We both have the overlap of a lot of aspects of our personality. So like when the pandemic first got started, and they first were talking about face masks, and like we could not find any because people were buying them, and so he had found, I think he had ordered through Canada or something, he found some, and like he sent some of his down to me, and I was like, oh, thanks. It's like, so sweet, you're sending me face masks. I can't believe I'm saying this. It's so cool. You need extra face masks. Or like he knows I like kind of different kind of jewelry, like rings or whatever. And so at one point he would sell, like he's a vendor wherever he's from. Like he has a vendor's license. So, he'll sell little costume jewelry here and there. And he would show me the stuff he has. And I said, okay, yeah, that's nice. I'm not really. And he's like, do you like these rings? And I'm like, no. I said, but no, I most people do like, I said, look, I know I'm the weird one. Most people do like these kinds of rings. I like something that's like really weird and like nobody would wear. That's the kind of ring I like. Oh my, this man searched for these rings. And I'm just like, no, you really don't have to. What are you doing? Because there's this huge warehouse he gets. So there's this obviously aisles and aisles of rings.
Uh-huh.
And he's taking these pictures. What about these? I'm like, no, I don't like any of those. But no, stop. You don't have to do this. And finally he's like, what about these? And I'm like, wow, I like those. And so he just sent the box. But I know he spent at least a week to 2 weeks trying to figure it out. And that is, like I said, that is precious energy. And I'm just like, thank you so much for trying to figure it out. You really didn't have to. And so I try to be guarded because he is such a giver.
Yeah.
I really try to be guarded about what I say I like or am interested in, because I don't want to send the message of I want you to get me that, because I'm really independent. So I'm the worst person to date because I'm really independent. And 9 times out of 10, if I say I want something, I've already bought it. And so I don't give anyone a chance to try to make it a gift or whatever, because I'm like, yeah, I think I want these roller skates, and then the next day I have the roller skates. You know, so I don't give anyone a chance. And like he and I have had, I've had to explain to him. I said, I'm not disrespecting you because I know you want to give. I'm not disrespecting you at all. I said, but I'm independent. I was kind of raised, if you want something, go get it yourself. I said, so I have to make myself recognize when you're trying to really be nice to me.
Right. Because it's not typical. It's not like a typical way of being nice to someone else. Would you say that? Yeah.
No, it's like I said, the weirdness with the rings. I mean, I was very grateful, but I was like, wow, he really went out for that one. Okay, but the other gifts are just, like I said, practical things like the face masks, or like he had these really colorful socks. And I was like, wow, you know, because like, and he was like, here, you can have them. And that would be like, no, I'm paying for them. These are part of your business. I'm not going to just like tell me how much they are. He'd never tell me the real price. I mean, I know he doesn't. I know he would not charge me shipping. I'm like, dude, no, like, I'm a customer. Treat me like a customer. He's like, no.
No, you're not a customer.
Customer. Or I'd be like, oh, I like those, but I can't pay for them yet. So like, if you sell them to somebody else, that's okay. He's like, no, I'll send them now. I'm like, no, I just said I can't. So my friend is over here saying, say thank you, say thank you, say thank you.
But you know what? Actually, the thank you is like not even necessary, because like if we see your face light up or your eyes light up, or just the fact that you're like, oh, I really like those, and we're like, let me get them for you. Like that's like so good to us. Like we feel so happy. Like I'm sure you, like, as soon as he was able to find that ring for you, oh my God, his heart was probably bursting with joy, because like, yes, I found it. I found the one that she likes. Oh my God, I'm so happy. So I think that in itself was like a huge thank you for him. Like he would have been so excited. I can imagine. For myself, I would have been so excited.
But I still want to, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go on. Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I still wanted to reciprocate. So like, I know he likes learning weird information. So I think between my friend and myself, we literally found a book that says Book of Unusual Information. And so I was sitting, he loved it. There's he likes colorful socks too. So I sent him these like men's dress socks with all these different designs or whatever. I shipped that to him, you know, so, cause it's like, you know, I want to keep it balanced. Like, you know, I'm saying that I want him to feel like it's not just him doing everything. And I will say that is honestly an effort for me, because I never know what people like. I'm the aunt that just gives you money. My sister is the family planner for like big gifts for my parents. I just say, how much money am I contributing? Because I cannot think of it. I can't think of what people would like unless you literally tell me, you know? So like, this is effort for me to be like, oh, I think he would like this. I think he, you know, so I'm trying to keep it balanced. Yeah.
I do really appreciate that, because as you know, one of the main things that we door slam people for is injustice and unfairness. Like when we feel like taken advantage of, like I'm sure you've read this 100 times before, like it's like if we ever feel like we're being taken advantage of, not that you're doing that, of course, obviously you're going the other way around, like you're going the opposite route, but like it's just one of our big things, like we just don't like it. And I think one of the things we do is we do give too much in relationships, and then sometimes the person's like, that's just believing that it's just, well, they don't need to do anything for it. It's just, it's a given. And we don't like that. It can never be a given. It should always be, even if it's just a simple thank you, or if it's just a simple smile, as long as you acknowledge the fact that we kind of did something for you and meant something to you, it means a lot to us. Like it means a lot. So I'm really happy that you said that the giver and receiver relationship has to be balanced. That's a huge thing for us. I'm so happy. So I'm going to actually end this conversation here, even though I know we have a lot more to talk about. Because we did say a lot of different things, and I just want to let people just let it congeal in their heads, because it can be a little too much information, especially if you're a non-INFJ who hasn't been studying it for as long as you have. Then it can be like, oh my God, what's going on here? But I think it's going to be so useful for people to see it from that perspective, because I think you've just really nailed it, like just how to do it and how to step back and how to integrate the lessons and learnings and use it. It's just brilliant. I just love it so much. Do you have any last words for this particular video and this session that you want to leave our viewers with?
I think that what we said earlier, patience is the key for us non-INFJs. What I would love for INFJs to do, though, is give us a teeny tiny disclaimer at the beginning. When you know that you're going to talk to us more than once, just say, hey, I disappear. I'm going to disappear at least twice a week, just so you know.
Okay.
Just give us a little disclaimer. So we'll be ready.
That's a good point. We should really do that. We really should. So like, I totally agree. Like seriously, if we could just tell the people, like, all right, I'm sorry, but or even just saying right before like, I'm not in the mood. I can't feel people. I don't have the energy for anyone, not just you. We could just do that. Like, it's so difficult though. But yeah, you're right. We really need to learn how to do that for sure. This is brilliant. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your time. And hopefully we'll do another session, because I really do have a lot more questions about, how did the relationship progress, and, how did you know that it was going to be a long-term thing, I think it's a long-term thing for you, and things like that. So we have a little bit more to chat about, so we'll definitely do another session. But I hope that everyone who's watching and listening, I know they have gotten a lot out of it. So again, thank you so much. And everyone, I shall see you the next time. We will maybe both see you the next time around. Bye.